As Blake said, I'm Ginny Johnson, the COREworks Fellow for this year. So COREworks will be officially launching in the next couple of weeks. I think it will officially launch in the February news leaf. So COREworks is a local carbon offset marketplace. The core in COREworks actually stands for Community Offsets for a Regenerative Economy, and it works in that it is action-oriented. So basically what a carbon offset is an organization does something that prevents the emission of carbon or sequesters atmospheric carbon, and then individuals or companies can purchase the bragging rights to those units of offset carbon. So COREworks prevents emissions and sequesters carbon in 4 different project pathways. There's solar projects, tree planting projects, composting, and regenerative agriculture. Solar and tree planting are the only active pathways at the moment. Composting is on the horizon, and then regenerative agriculture will be on the horizon after that. But the way the marketplace aspect of COREworks works is a project is implemented and then verified by COREworks, and then the metric tons of carbon dioxide that project will offset over its lifespan, that number of units is available in the COREworks marketplace. And I want to be specific that people do not buy those offsets and COREworks does not sell them, because COREworks is, like Boxerwood, a nonprofit. So people donate in the name of those offsets, and those offsets are retired from the COREworks marketplace when people donate in equivalence of them, but there's no buying or selling of exchanging of goods. So a metric ton of carbon dioxide in the COREworks marketplace is valued at $120. And that will be true across all COREworks projects, at least for the time being. So there are 2 ways that people can donate to COREworks. There's the ton for ton route, which is, someone wants to decrease their carbon footprint and a metric ton of carbon dioxide is retired from the marketplace as a result, or someone can give a direct impact donation, which can be any amount. Someone just wants to generally support COREworks projects. And either route of donation, 100% of donations go into the COREworks fund to fund future projects that will then offset carbon, and those offsets will be available in the marketplace to generate more money to fund future projects. So it's an ever moving forward machine in that way. So there are a lot of carbon offset marketplaces out there, but there are a couple of things that make COREworks special. So a lot of these marketplaces operate on an international scale. You give an organization money and then trees are planted somewhere in the world. But what's special about COREworks is that it happens on a local scale. So all projects take place within the Rockbridge County area. There's a real emphasis on community building. The farmers whose regenerative agriculture efforts you're funding are your neighbors, or you can go see the solar panel that is preventing fossil fuel emissions. Also, as this is a Boxerwood initiative, there is an educational component to all of these projects, whether that's engaging school children in planting trees or using a solar array as a way to teach about renewable energy. These projects aren't just about offsetting carbon. There's more to it than that. These projects are also working towards a more just community. COREworks is committed to engaging diverse communities in these projects and making sure that everyone has a seat at the table. And so every COREworks project is double verified. And what that means is that a project is submitted to COREworks and then it is internally verified by the COREworks team. And we ensure that it is meeting standards of integrity, both that are standards in the industry for like big for-profit carbon offset marketplaces, but also meeting our own COREworks standards of integrity. So those are that it's local, that it's inclusive, and that it's bountiful. And bountiful just means that it's doing more ecological good or social good than just offsetting carbon. So once it's internally verified, then it goes through an external review team, which consists of a rotating group of about 5 community members. The first COREworks project was actually just recently verified last month by our first external review team. It's the solar array that's at Boxerwood, as I'm sure many of you have seen it. And our first tree planting project is underway. The trees were planted in December by community groups, and WNL student organizations were the ones who actually planted the trees. And it is currently in the process of being verified right now. And then COREworks also has social media, a Facebook page and an Instagram, and a website that is in beta mode, but will be officially launched to the public in a couple weeks. So yeah, that's the elevator pitch. Any questions?
Can you help me visualize the scale of one of these projects, like for it to be sort of a metric ton, like for a solar array? Is an individual like residence putting solar arrays a big enough project, or is like what scale is big enough for this type of these projects?
I think the intention is that COREworks projects will happen at different scales. So for example, the solar array that is at Boxerwood that was just verified, over its lifetime, it will offset 94 metric tons of carbon dioxide. But COREworks is interested in smaller solar arrays than that as well, depending on the project. I think the tree planting project, the trees will offset about 19 metric tons of carbon. So there will be a variety in that way.
So I guess, do these types of projects happen more at an organizational level, or like a large scale, like it's not just like somebody in there, that has a couple acres plants trees, like it's not happening at an individual level, these types of projects, is that right? Or
right, it is more an organizational level,
more bigger
yes.
scale.
Mm-hmm.
And then would you say that the types of people that are donating to COREworks to purchase the donation for the offsets, are they organizational level type people, or are we targeting a lot of individual donors, or everybody, all the above?
All of the above. We have already had an individual donor who has donated in the name of 2 of the offsets from the solar panels, but I'm certainly interested in organizational donations as well. I think also for organizations, they can also, if they're so interested, underwrite COREworks, so to pay administrative fees, because 100% of ton for ton donations and direct impact donations go into the fund to fund projects, so there's no administration fee support there. So there are a couple options for organizational donations.
Hey, Jenny, I was curious, is COREworks exclusive to Rockbridge County and Boxerwood, or are there COREworks all over the country?
We are the first COREworks, but we would love future more COREworks. But yes, currently it is exclusive to Boxerwood and Rockbridge County.
Or are there
Dave, we invented it.
Well, I thought we did, but I wasn't sure if it came from a template somewhere that was established by somebody else, or if we just made it up. That's great.
Well, I have to say, it's been a long time. It's why it's taken so long to launch, because we had a lot of iterations, worked with a lot of community members to kind of get this right. And Rose, our last fellow, if you remember her, she did a lot of research to see what else was around the country. We looked at one in Juneau, Alaska, and then a handful of others. But really, this is pretty new and unusual, what we're trying to do. Sorry, Ginny, had to just jump in there, get excited.
I think the best thing about it is that we're passing these on for to offset future projects. I mean, that's really cool that it's something we can, share. Congratulations, Boxerwood.
In the minutes, there was a link to the COREworks website, so I went there, and it is really well done. And I admit I did not understand this at all until I went to the website. And I'm not going to say I'm an expert yet, but it's all there. So whomever put that together, good job. And it's pretty.
Yay, I'm glad you think so. Thank you.
What's sort of the administrative costs to running COREworks? Is it all like the salary that goes to COREworks, is that grant funded, or is it?
I am not 100% sure of this answer. Katrina, if you want to take this one.
Sure. We don't have any current grants funding COREworks, but we did have we had a donation, a large donation last year, and then another large donation the year before that to help at least pay for the fellows stipends. So that part has been funded. The work that Ben and Elise and I, the hours that we've put in over the last 2 years, BEA has really funded that, and I will be helping push to make sure that that business model, that it doesn't just get absorbed in BEA, but that BEA can actually charge COREworks for the administrative hours that get put in. And there's still a little bit of that detail we have to work out, because as Ginny said, 100% of the ton for ton and direct donations go toward funding the project. Now, let's say Jenny is managing a tree planting project, her work, her hours in that actually are part of that 100%. So direct staff involvement, direct project management is enfolded in that 100%. But when there's indirect, we have we're discussing COREworks for half an hour in a let's say a staff meeting, that's a little more indirect, that we have to think about how we get funding for that amount of time that gets put in. So still the details to work that out. I hope that helps answer a little bit.
Awesome. So what are the ways board members can promote this? Is it, I mean, are normal social media outlets going to be pushing this? I mean, I know that there already is like COREworks, Facebook page and all that, but is this sort of now just kind of like another sort of service and thing? We got the garden, we have the education programs, and now one other thing that we should just be aware of when we're talking, if we're out in the community, what's Boxerwood up to, is we should be pushing this and promoting this, and then the best way to steer them is to steer them to the website. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Well, that sounds great. Thank you very much, Ginny. Yeah, that's good. I definitely need to look at the website a little bit more. I looked at it I think like a month or so ago when part of it was up.
It's changed a lot in the last
oh,
month or so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, very nice. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Ginny, for joining us. Any other any other questions from board, or we if not, we're happy to let you go, Ginny, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for all your work.